Hey everybody, this is LunarLumina. You can call me Lumina for short. And for this first video on my gaming channel, I decided to break into a video called When Gamers Talk. So I've got a special guest who has agreed to talk back and forth with me on this, and he's also helped me get this channel up and running and started, and I cannot thank him enough. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only, AtticusMJ.
Okay, now make sure you stay down and you answer the questions. Hey, let me go. Okay. Hello, I'm Atticus, and I am not being held here against my will.
Did I mention he's also an extreme goofball? Yes, you are.
Yes, I am, Lumina. I am totally a goofball.
So today, Atticus... No, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding.
This is getting to Joker levels of torture.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Okay, so this is just going to be a friendly, goofy conversation as we're talking. So, my first question, obviously, is how exactly did you get into video games? Because you're at almost 1,000 subscribers now. How did you get into video games yourself?
Well, I started on the NES, but when I would consider myself a gamer, I would say happened in the Super Nintendo era, but I've had games around me while growing up. My family had an NES. I would play stuff like Mario and Castlevania and that, but I never really got hardcore in the games. They were just like a toy at the time of that. I did get a Game Boy when I was 8, but I think I really became really inspired to play a lot of games, as in something I really enjoy, when I played Final Fantasy II, aka Final Fantasy IV on the Super Nintendo.
That is a good one. Have you played the sequel, The After Years?
I played some of it. I have a lot of mixed feelings of it.
I have not
played. It has its ups, and sometimes it kind of feels like some weird fan fiction.
Yeah, really, because I have not played After Years. I have not played that yet, which is shocking, because I played pretty much every Final Fantasy. But,
and it doesn't help with the PSP version. The graphics to me look horrendous. They look like cheap RPG Maker sprites.
Well, I got started in kind of the same way. I grew up with video games. Every time I'd go to my grandparents' house, my grandmother bought a regular Nintendo, the first one when it came out, and then followed by the Super Nintendo. And I would just I don't want to say normal, but usually kids my age would be too busy playing with their dolls or their Barbies or something like that. If you like Barbies and stuff, I was never a Barbie kid. I just never was. But when it came to watching my grandmother play these video games, I literally sat and watched her pretty much the whole time. And when she wasn't playing, I would pick it up and I'd play through her game files and just explore the worlds and fight battles. And I remember it was Chrono Trigger. One day I learned what the phrase new game meant, and I thought, keep in mind I was young, I must have been 5 years old, and I thought, oh, there's actually a story in here. And I remember the first time I started playing the first part of it, I was freaking out for the very first time. So I think it was Chrono Trigger that really kicked it off for me. And what got me into Final Fantasy, what really made me a Final Fantasy girl, was when 7 came out, because that was all over the place. It's still all over the place. So much media has come out in relation to it since then. And I said to my grandmother, I said, Grandma, did you ever play any Final Fantasies? And she says, yes, I have a couple. So I ended up playing those. And that was it. That's what kickstarted it for me. The Chrono Trigger and some other classics and stuff that are on the SNES. I was more for the Super Nintendo than I was the regular Nintendo. But, yep, that's what started it.
Sweet.
So, I've got a lot of questions for Atticus, but they all pertain to, of course, video games. And how I'm going to do this is I have the list of best-selling video game franchises, courtesy of Wikipedia, open on my browser. And it has 5 categories. At least 100 million, 50 million, 20 million, 10 million, and 5 million copies sold. So I'm going to go through these. And Atticus, I'm going to name off the franchise. You tell me which game in the franchise you like the most and why. And if you haven't played it, that's fine. If it's something you want to play, feel free to let us know or something. Okay? You ready?
Okay.
Alright. The very first one is Mario.
Mario and me have a very mixed relationship. You know, he always takes all the highlight by me, Luigi, is always in the shadow, always foreshadowing him, while he goes and saves the princess, and Luigi's left alone. And then he gets his own adventure in Super Mario RPG The Legend of the Seven Stars. I mean, he gets all the RPG nodes on. All I got was a cameo on a Wish Star to be like my brother. My brother steals all the limelight. I just want Luigi time, you know?
But what about the Luigi's Haunted Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube?
That's not an RPG. And that's only became a recent cult classic because of scalpers.
Okay. Next one is Tetris.
Though, to touch up on Luigi's Mansion, I actually did thought Luigi's Mansion was an interesting game, though. Tetris, I mean, what's the word to say about Tetris? It's Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of versions of Tetris, but I mean, the core concept...
Mm-hmm. Okay, and of course the Super Mario franchise.
What? Mario listed twice? This
Yes.
is cheating.
The first one was the in general Mario, and the third one on the list is the Super Mario. It says the Super Mario series of platform games began.
Whoever made this list has always screwed up hardcore.
Okay, Pokemon.
Pokemon. I'm not really a big fan past Gen 2. I really liked the Gen 2 though.
Okay, Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Personally, I'd say my favorite is GTA 4 because previous games never really built up a very good storyline for the main character. Pretty much the closest thing would be Vice City, which is just essentially Scarface whip-off, really. I mean, I enjoyed Vice City. It's probably my favorite out of the more older ones. But, I mean, it's hard to really get around it being a Scarface whip-off, really, in its story. Well, GTA 4, you played Nico Bellic, a very sympathetic character, and had an interesting storyline to him.
Me, excuse me, ironically enough, and people are probably going to be like, what? I am, the only game in the franchise I've played is number 5, and I have to say, there ain't no other word to describe Trevor aside from crazy.
Yeah, I've only gotten up to Trevor in 5. I haven't beaten 5, but I have seen the 3 main characters, though.
Yeah, actually, Stephen Ogg, who was the voice and motion capture actor for Trevor, is currently playing Simon on The Walking Dead. And after The Walking Dead, they have a show called The Talking Dead where they get together with the actors and stuff and they ask questions and stuff. People call in. And someone actually called in and said, Stephen, who do you think would be more apt to survive in the zombie apocalypse, Simon or Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5. And he said, I don't think Trevor would make it because he'd probably do something crazy like fall in love with a zombie or something like that, so I'd have to go with Simon.
Huh.
Well,
That's
he
is a
is.
bit crazy.
Well, uh, he's nuts. He's nuts.
Oh, he is. I mean, just when you get introduced to Trevor should indicate that.
I guess. Okay, the next one after that is Call of Duty.
I guess I'd go with Call of Duty 2, I guess.
Why is that?
Just interesting historical. I like the older Call of Duties just because it's kind of going through a historical periods, while the modern ones, like I mean, like Call of Duty 3 wasn't too bad. Modern Warfare, that wasn't too bad, but that was obviously going more fictional because those were events that didn't actually really happen.
Mm.
Like a game I really was looking forward to that got shot down because a controversial soccer moms was it was either 6 or 7 days in Fallujah, which was a actual incident that happened in Iran. That would have actually been really interesting to me, but poor soccer moms were so offended by it, and it got so much controversy that it got dumped and basically went to development hell, and then, well, nobody's heard from it again.
Yeah, I was disappointed when they had made a demo of, I think it was a Silent Hill game. Yeah, the Silent
Oh,
Hill.
you mean the PT demo?
Yeah, and I was so looking forward to it because Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl on The Walking Dead, he was gonna be, the main character in it. He was gonna voice it, and I was, I've never played Silent Hill. I'm familiar with Silent Hill 3, but I'm not too familiar. But I was all game for playing that one, and then they released it, and I'm like, oh, come on, But the next one on the list is actually shocking to me. The Wii.
Oh, the Wii
Yeah.
itself. That's actually not too shocking because the Wii. I think the last time I looked, the Wii beat the most sold console ever. It just somehow tapped into the grandmas and soccer moms of the universe somehow.
Yeah, because Wii Sports and all that
But you see,
stuff.
that was the negative effect, though, is like companies that were trying to tap into this large market base. A lot of that large market base basically was just playing Wii Sports and compilation things that were like $15.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going out there getting the newest AAA game because they didn't even give a crap.
Mm.
I mean, my parents just loved Wii Sports. I would play the Wii bowling with them, and then a lot of those people, I mean, that's pretty much what a lot of those people just got a Wii for.
Yeah,
They
Wii
want,
Bowling is
yeah.
Wii Bowling is my favorite game. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, you're
you.
fine, you're fine. But yeah, Wii Sports was a great demo too. The potential with the Wii remote and that, but yeah, it had lots of sales, but a lot of those people weren't people that were gonna buy a lot of games. So it was that's why a lot of companies lost a lot of trust with the Wii, and it got worse with the Wii U, and the Wii U failed to captivate that casual market as they left to mobile devices and what's the tablets. Yeah, tablets will become
Yeah.
really big at the time, and they were super cheap compared to the Wii U. So Nintendo pretty much failed to continue that trend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
But
also, I remember,
oh, go ahead.
I remember when the Wii. I don't know if it was when it first came out. Probably, it was in the newspaper where I live. People were actually hurting themselves playing
Oh
the
yeah,
Wii.
there was stupid people doing stupid shit with the thing. It's like, come on, what the hell is wrong with some of you people? But
Okay.
if you're wanting me to say like a favorite game on the Wii,
Sure, if you want to. I'm just shocked that Wii is on here because I know it's a console, but I didn't know that it was.
Yeah, it just tapped into that casual market that a lot of AAA companies keep trying to. I mean, hell, there was advertisement for it in women's clothing stores, women magazines, places that have nothing to do with video games. It was just, for some reason, it was just selling to people who had no interest in games.
Huh.
But
Okay. Well, the
I
next.
think I would probably. It's a tough thing, but I think I'm gonna be a cheap ass and just go with what I think was a really good game that worked with the Wii remote. I really liked it. No More Heroes.
Mm,
That was a fantastic game that made use of what the Wii gave you while being a fun game.
mm. Okay, and the next one after that is The Sims.
I've only ever played Sims 1.
Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, I've played a few different Sonic games. I played Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and played Sonic Adventure, Sonic Heroes. Um,
I played Sonic Heroes as well.
uh,
That soundtrack is kick ASS.
that's about the only thing they keep doing good these days. That I haven't really played a lot of modern Sonic games. I did get that, what was it, Brotherhood for the DS. BioWare made it. It's an RPG. I haven't played it. I bought it on a GameStop sale thing, or buy two get one free thing. Um, I mean, I played probably the most of Sonic 2 and Sonic and Knuckles are probably what I played the most out of Sonic stuff.
Mm. Okay, Need for Speed.
Never played a single one.
Okay. Oh! Here's my favorite. Sorry I squealed. Sorry I squealed. Final Fantasy.
Well, of course, it's Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. No, I'm just kidding. Though I actually do.
I have that.
I do like Mystic Quest though. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
just for the vain similarity of using Zelda elements like Lufia 2 did. But favorite Final Fantasy. That's something that becomes a more complex issue, more and more. Because nostalgic, I lean on Final Fantasy 4. Gameplay, I'd lean on Final Fantasy 5. How much time I've spent in one would lean into Final Fantasy 11.
Mm. Did you play any of the remakes, like Final Fantasy 4 and 5?
I don't really like the chibi look that they did on the DS. And the mobile versions that they also used for the Steam versions look awful. Oh my goodness. Have you seen those? They look terrible. It's like, why didn't you use the Super Nintendo? That shit looks terrible.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to say I have two favorites, but one is kind of a branch off franchise. My very first favorite is Final Fantasy IX. Like when they were making that, they actually went back to the roots of the.
Yes, 9 is a very good one.
Yes, and if you'll cry at the end, you will cry at the end. And my second favorite is the Final Fantasy 13 series, but I played Final Fantasy 13, the first one, all the way through, beat it, loved it. Final Fantasy 13-2, beat it, loved the game. Without giving away too many spoilers, I was confused by the ending until I had to buy a DLC.
Well, isn't the DLC non-chronological?
No, it is. It depends on which one
Well, I'm saying,
you buy.
doesn't the normal ending lead into Lightning's Return?
It does, but in order for the normal ending to make sense, you have to buy a DLC, which I believe in the third one, Lightning Returns, they kind of do flashbacks with that. So,
I don't remember the DLC making any sense with the Lightnings Return. I just thought it was happy endings that were chronicle, but
well, with Final Fantasy 13 too, you had to buy a DLC. That's the only time I ever bought.
I've never bought any of the DLC. I beat it, and then I played Lightning's Return, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
hmm
It was a
Now
depressingly stupid ending, but
mm, well, I I liked Lightning's Return. I probably would have beaten it, but the thing is that clock mechanism made me feel like I was going to have a
I
panic
think it
attack.
would work if it had normal RPG mechanics as opposed to needing to do long, ambiguous quest lines that hardly give you any hints on what you need to do, and some of them to gain stat boosts.
Mm. Well, for me, what really got it for me was that stinking clock. That stinking clock.
But that's what I'm saying. If you leveled up normally through battle, I don't think the clock system would have been as bad. Because I mean,
Mm.
because of that, there's no real point to fighting. Because you don't
Right.
get anything but items that might be for quests or usable items for yourself.
Mm.
Battles are essentially just a waste of time.
Uh, yeah. Okay, the next one on the list is Minecraft.
There's only one.
Well, they make a few. They make a few in a few different for a few different
But
consoles.
they're all the same thing. The only difference is that some of them might be lagging behind in the updates of the PC version, but it's still the same game.
Mm.
And they get that
Yeah.
stuff anyway. Like the PS4 has been catching up a lot. I'm not sure
Mm.
about any of the other ones since the only console one I've played is PS4.
Ah, okay. Um, the Lego games.
I'm not really a fan of any of the modern Lego games. They have no real challenge. I mean, if you played them with someone, they'd probably be good for funnies because there was sometimes some humorous cutscenes. But as a game, it's you die and you just immediately respawn. There's not any real challenge to it. I have memories of a lot of older Lego games. Somebody cue the Pizzeria song. Mamma mia, pizzeria, don't you know the Vattarine is on and on and on. Damn
Oh
you,
my.
Lego Island, Island, Island. Brick by brick, I'm gonna tear this down brick by brick.
Oh my gosh! Now we're busting into karaoke. And do you play NFL games at all?
No, I don't play sports games.
Okay, just checking. And Assassin's Creed is
I've
also
only
on
played
this
the
list.
first one.
Okay, I think let's see.
So I have
I
been
would
thinking
recommend.
about getting that. I think it's on the Vita physically, where it's like a side-scrolling kind of Assassin's Creed game. That one looked
And
interesting.
there's a couple that they made kind of as branch offs. Um, but the side scroller one, I think that came out for both Vita and the PS4.
Yeah, but I believe it's physically only available for the Vita. I think the PS4 version was only digital. I think I could
Mm,
be. Ooh, excuse me. I could be wrong though.
okay. All right, now we are in the 50 million copies section. Okay, ready?
Yep.
The Legend of Zelda.
Oh, The Legend of Zelda. Well, I really Majora's Mask is one I really like a lot out of the 3D ones. The
Mm-hmm.
retro ones, 2D ones, I really like Link to the Past though. So
Yep, Link to the
2D,
Past
2D
is.
I'd go Link to the Past, 3D I'd go Majora's Mask, and if you want to go more modern 3D, I don't really even know what to say.
Yeah, and Link to the Past is actually my grandmother's favorite game, probably out of all the games that she's ever played. And I did too. I also played Majora's Mask on the N64, and that hat seller, that creepy hat guy selling hats, was creepy, and I'm thinking to myself, as I was playing the game, I honestly thought that he was one of the was going to be maybe the main bad guy, because I understand he collects hats and stuff, but why exactly would he want to collect Majora's Mask in particular? I always had this like feeling that he would want to put it on or something, and he'd be the final boss that would end up taking over the world or something. And he's a creepy guy.
There's a lot of theories on the masked salesman from Majora's Mask. Some theories point to him being some kind of Denantine god because of things he does that are inhuman, warping around, making pianos appear out of nowhere and stuff, and being maybe why he's interested in keeping the mask to himself. Others have pointed out maybe it's just a strange reference to Miyamoto himself, considering he has masks from other universes.
Mm, okay.
And then there's
Now
that
have
whole dead theory, too.
no. Now have you ever played Tom Clancy's?
I played some of the ones that were on the original Xbox, but I never beat any of them.
Okay. Gran Turismo?
Don't play them.
Okay. Have you played Resident Evil?
Yes, I've played almost all of them.
Okay, out of all of them, what's your favorite?
I'd probably have to. I think I'm gonna cheat with two answers here. Now, the first one's going to be the obvious one, and the second one's going to be the not obvious one. The obvious one is going to be Resident Evil 2, which is pretty much the Final Fantasy VII of the Resident Evil series, where people either say it's overrated or the greatest game ever. And the not so obvious is I really liked the Resident Evil Outbreak games, which are something that is pretty much you love it or hate it kind of thing.
Mm. Have you seen any of the movies?
Well, I've watched the first one. I wouldn't recommend watching any of them myself, but
Okay. Okay. Dragon Quest.
oh, a lot of good games in there. You got 3, 7, 8. Something I actually recently talked to Carter about in a jolly good time we did.
Carta 1972.
I just call him Carter.
I know, but still.
But
His his channel is Carta 1972.
But you act like Carter's never been on here before.
I know, but I'm just letting people know it's Carta 1972, but we call him Carta for short.
I'm just picking on people. Okay.
I'm just picking on people, he says. Gamer girls out there, rally behind me. No, I'm kidding.
Could go for an easy point there, but I'll let you have it.
Anyway, which of the Dragon Quest games is your most favorite?
Well, like I said, 3, 7, 8 are my favorites out of the main series. There's been some delightfully good spin-offs. There was the Yangus Japanese exclusive Rogue style game that was on the PS2. Very bright, colorful, chibi style that was very nice with that one. The slime, the Rocket Slime spin-offs are very good too. I recently got the 3DS Japanese game that sadly did not come to America. Those are fantastically simple little puzzle adventure games. Those are fun too, but a lot of good games in the series, a lot of good ones, not too many bad ones.
Okay, epic. All right. Halo. Have you ever played any of the Halo games?
Yes.
All right. What do you think of those?
I think if you're not playing with a friend, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, some games are like, they're made for co-op.
I think that's the only real fun for me, myself, is playing with someone with Halo, because the story isn't my kind of thing. I don't consider it interesting enough. Other people do, that's fine. It's not interesting enough to me, so I just have fun with playing with someone.
Okay. The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail. I think it was Brutal Moose that pointed out that the Oregon Trail, considering how freaking old it is, actually was a really huge seller because it just keeps making games.
Yeah, it
Um,
came out in 1971.
I did play the original on the Apple II, and I've never played any of the other versions, which I wouldn't be shocked if they're vastly easier. The Apple II version of the Oregon Trail was quite brutal. I've never been it before. I've left many gravestones along the trail.
Okay, the next one is Battlefield.
Never played any of the Battlefield games aside from Bad Company, which is kind of more of a spin-off.
Okay. Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, I've never really. I mean, I did play some of the PS1 games, but I'm not really into a lot of adventure platforming type games. My dad played the Italian PS1 games. He's played all those. I did get him a PS2 at one time and got him the PS2 game, and he just couldn't really get into anything past the PS1 really. Um, but I mean, for that type of game, they were fantastic games, but
Mm-hmm.
they would just frustrate me too much myself.
Mm-hmm. Now, I never played the PlayStation 1 versions of the games, but the very first time I ever heard about Tomb Raider was when the first movie with Angelina Jolie came out, and then the first game that I played was the reboot that they made. Was it in 2012? Yes, for the PlayStation 3, which has now also been ported, remastered to the PlayStation 4. And I haven't played Rise of the Tomb Raider yet, but that was one of the first M-rated games that captured me. There were actually three that captured my interest a lot, and I wonder if one of them is going to be listed on here before I even get down there. But the first one is actually a rare gem, and we did talk about this, like before we recorded. We did talk about this, listeners. It's a rare gem called Haunted Ground, and it's a spin-off from the Clock Tower series, which traumatized me. Uh, so some games I can't handle, some games I can, but I can handle Haunting Ground. Uh, no, not Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was the third. The second one was actually Parasite Eve. Did you ever play that? Did you ever play
Yeah.
Parasite Eve?
Oh, I beat in the first one. I got like halfway or near the. In the second game, I got to like some deserty farm area with an old guy and his dog, and I think I had just finished that, and they went to some cave, and I got stuck there or something. I'd say the first one's definitely worth checking out. The second one kinda tried to do the Star Tropics 2 thing where it's like, hey, people criticize the first game, so we should immediately take that criticism and not consider whether it's going to have a drastic effect on the gameplay and do it anyway.
Hmm.
Because, I mean,
Actually,
because Star Tropics 2 is a very mixed bag because it tried to address things people didn't like, but it ultimately made the game worse, in my opinion. And not to say Parasite Eve 2 is bad, but it's just. There are some
mm,
things it do that were good, and some things that I'd say the first one did better.
mm. Yeah, I think so. That one not only is a classic, but it's based on the book of the same.
It's
The
a
book of the same
sequel
name.
to the book. It's a sequel to the book, if I remember
Oh, it
correctly.
is.
If I remember correctly, it continues after the book.
Mm.
But because Square Enix no longer had any rights to using Parasite Eve's title,
The
um,
third birthday.
yeah, they, for some, like, I don't think I've ever heard of why exactly it's like what's called third birthday. Like, I mean, the reason is because they can't use Parasite Eve because they didn't have any rights to it anymore. But why they call it the third birthday, I don't know. It's just, and I've been meaning to get it, mostly
Mm.
to laugh at it,
Yeah,
but
'cause
but I can
I
never find it
also
for a good price.
yeah, I also heard that the girl, the main girl in there, her name escapes me right now. Um,
Um, I believe it started with an A, I think.
yeah. Eh,
And Aina, I think it was like AYA,
Aya?
Aina, Aya. I think it was something like that.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google this quick. I'm gonna Google this quick.
But yeah, I've been meaning to get Third Birthday, but I never find it for, like, prices want too much. I'm gonna see, like, what's Amazon selling it for now?
Well, I know people didn't really care for the way they depicted.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it went very fan servicey in the Thor birthday. I mean, it's like she was a tough, badass woman in both one and two, and then it has this like clothing stripping away mechanic, like I was telling you in that schoolgirl zombie hunter thing. It's like it's totally inappropriate for it's like what the hell? You went from this strong badass woman, and then it's like now there's this whole mechanic of whole clothing being stripped off. It's like what the
mm,
hell?
yeah, Aya Bray or Aya Bray. That's her name.
Ha! For
Oh.
the gameplay of it, though, for Third Birthday, I don't know. It might be okay, it might not, but I. It's right now, 1999. I don't know. It just I've heard so much bad things about it. I don't know if I would really care to spend a lot on it.
Mm,
Yeah, the UK cover looks a lot better than the American cover.
mm, mm. Well, I can't blame you. It's like they try to rewrite it. Good
Well,
grief.
the basically they couldn't make any direct references to anything that was directly to the novel, which is why it's so bizarre it even exists. Really, they essentially made a sequel to games that were sequel of well events that took place after the novel. It's like it's such a licensing hellhole. It's I
Hmm.
don't. Uh, it's very messy.
Hmm. But anyway, moving down the list further, were you ever a fan of Donkey Kong?
Not of country.
Okay.
Not really into collectathon platformers. I did play some good old Donkey Kong where you play as good old Jumpman.
Okay. Crash Bandicoot.
Hmm. Well, I did have Crash Bandicoot 1. I'm not a big platformer type person, so I never got really too far in it. But it was an interesting game. I just sucked at it.
Okay, now we're in the 20 million copies section. You ready?
Sure.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. Probably my favorite's probably Solid 3.
Okay, why is that?
Because it's good, it's stealthy, probably had some. It probably should also point out I'm referring to Substance, not the original version, which had a third person camera versus the traditional top down view that the rest of the series had, which I do feel worked a lot better for 3 also. But I really liked the overall everything. It had if there was anything I was going to give Metal Gear Solid 5 very good credit for, because I don't think the story's as good as many of the other entries in 5, but 5 certainly took a new step in all the bizarre, whack, crazy shit you can do in the game. I mean, there's so many weird tricks you can do with just the cardboard box alone in 5. And at the time, 3 brought a lot of new stuff to the table.
I see.
But
A cardboard box.
oh yeah, there's so many weird things you can do with the cardboard box. A funny thing you can do, the troll soldiers. You can get a sexy swimsuit girl, spray painted on the inside, so you can fold it out so it can be seen, and the guards will just like stand there drooling for a second, and then you can pop out and knock them out and shit. So you can slide around it like it was a snowboard thing. It it has a lot of weird old tricks you can do in 5.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what about the Tekken series?
Tekken. I haven't played Tekken in a long time, but I did play a lot of the core games back on the PS1. I liked the Tekken Tag Team too. That one was a good entry. I liked it a lot. But after the PS2, I fell behind a lot on a lot of the entries.
Mm. Okay, now the Elder Scrolls.
Not a lot of experience. Morrowind and online, and most people probably be like, online?
Well, I've played online as well.
Yeah, well, it's looked down a lot on a lot of Elder Scrolls fans.
Really?
Yeah, well, it had a terrible launch, and then people who are big lore nuts, and there was this one channel I watched that talked a lot about the lore stuff between online and the main series, and I can get a lot of that stuff. There is some wacky liberties they have in online storyline compared to I mean, the orcs themselves are completely confusing because I think Morrowind was the first one where you could actually play as an orc, and beforehand they were just basically always mobs you'd kill. So and online takes place before I think the entire series, I think. So, and you can play all the races, including orcs, like you could in Morrowind and up. And there's like this alliance thing where three races are in an alliance each. And a lot of people say the alliance the orcs are in doesn't make sense or anything. And I mean, I've seen some good points but I think online's okay gameplay wise, but if you're like one of those type of people that want all the realistic emotion, obviously the MMO mechanics pop you out of that.
Yeah. I remember one day I was playing through it and I had a freak out moment because I forgot that people can wear their headsets and talk, back and forth to each other. So all of a sudden I'm playing a game.
Did you play on the console?
I played on the PS4.
Yeah, you played on the console. Yeah, something that when I first played that I thought was really stupid is there was no chat box in the console version. Now they added it after many people going like, what the hell? Like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I mean, Final Fantasy XI was able to do this on the freaking PS2, people. But they finally added one, so you can actually use a keyboard and fucking chat to people that way. But yes, I hate that. Well, they just expected you to have a mic and just randomly talk to people. It's a hey you, cat person, you, yeah. You.
Yeah, and when that happened, I was like, who's talking? Who's talking? Oh, yeah. There's like a whole bunch of other gamers
to be
here.
fair, most people don't usually do that. But you would run around and occasionally find somebody doing that, talking on the mic, and it's just I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that on the console. Sometimes I feel like some of these devs are going backwards. I mean, like Destiny has the same problem where it doesn't have any in-game chat room or anything when it has MMO aspects to it. It's like people, Japanese devs have done this on the PS2. You have stronger consoles. Pull your heads out of your asses and give people basic communicational needs. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay, the next one on the list is Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. I've played a few. Obviously, I played the normal arcade games. I played the bizarre. What was it? I think they called it Pac-Man 2 in America on the Super Nintendo, but it's certainly not a Pac-Man 2. It's a very. I don't. I don't even know how to really explain. It was. It's this strange kind of point and click kind of thing. It was called Pac-Man 2: The New Adventure in America. In Japan, it was called Hello Pac-Man. It's a bizarre. The closest thing I can really describe is some kind of bizarre point and click game. It where you use a slingshot to interact with stuff and get Pac-Man to interact with stuff. It's a very bizarre game. Another strange platforming game I played was on the TurboGrafx 16 with Pac-Man also.
Mm.
Um, that was a Oddly enough, that was more themed after the American cartoon also,
Mm.
which is strange because it actually did come out in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there were console-wise, there was one that I really liked and one that freaked me out. Yeah, freaked me out. Let's see. It might have. Oh yeah, the console one. The first one that I really liked was for the Sega. I remember the Sega, and I can't remember the exact title. It could have been the one you're describing, but this robot queen woman thing.
Yeah, the Pac-Man 2 was on Sega Genesis also.
Yep,
And
that was
yeah,
it.
it involved some female villain that was using the ghosts to do
Yes,
something. I think that is what you're talking about.
yes, yes. And the one that freaked me out was the one for the PS1. I think it was the PS1, where it had that deranged looking robotic Pac-Man that stole his entire
I
family.
think that was Pac-Man World, I think.
Yeah, Pac-Man World. And I'm like, oh, that thing looks bad. Don't let it in my house. That was like the prequel to Five Nights at Freddy's, but we're not going to talk about that.
I don't think so. That's probably more like Night Trap.
Oh, okay. Okay, the next one on the list is one called Lineage.
That doesn't really ring a bell.
Oh, okay. Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Z doesn't have a lot of really great. I mean, there are some. I'm just saying, there's a lot of mediocre cash-ins also.
Well,
But
well, the Xenoverse ones have just come out.
but those basically whipped off that anime crossover games engine. Though I hear it's way better than that game, though. That game was very frame weighted. Like that anime crossover game they did before Xenoverse had a lot of frame rate shit problems.
Mm.
But I definitely say the Attacking the Saiyans was a fantastic RPG on the original DS. It is a real shame they did not continue that.
Mm. Mm. Okay, the next one. Well, there are some that I'm skipping because I just know no, there's no way you could have possibly played these. But
Why is that? I want to see evidence.
you've played Guitar Hero.
Yes.
You have.
Yes, I own most of the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. I don't have the newest ones that have failed quite horribly.
What's your favorite Guitar Hero? What's your favorite
Well,
one?
with Guitar Hero, I'd definitely go with 3, just because it had the most clever story. You know, you get signed in a contract, and at the end you find out it was the devil, and you have to win your soul back by playing the fiddle song.
Oh, that.
You fight the devil with the fiddle song. That I just loved that. For some reason, the guy who made that song though thought it was so horrible. For some reason, like he did like this giant like petition thing to try and get to not happen. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's a brilliant idea. Like it's something about like they're using it wrong. It's not Christian enough or something. And like, what? You made a song about a kid having a fiddle contest with the devil. They're having a guitar contest with the devil for those souls. Like, it sounds like the most hypocritical, stupid shit I've ever seen. But yeah, but
And in the end, they won.
hey, well, unless you actually
They
lose. But oh, you mean the actual song? Yeah, they win.
Yeah, yeah, they
In the
beat the
game, it
devil.
depends on whether you do it right.
Okay. So, have you played any of the Harry Potter games?
I played the PS1 game, which was okay.
Mario Party?
Cheating, cheating, using the same franchise in multiple spots. They are cheating, cheating.
This is why I've skipped over a couple. I've skipped over a couple
Well,
because
if
I
it's the
just played
same
them.
thing, yeah, skip it.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
you only
Okay.
get it one slot, fat plum or man. And no, I haven't played any of the Mario Party games.
Oh goodness. Okay. What about um, what about Medal of Honor?
I never really got into any of the Medal of Honor games.
Okay. Super Smash Bros.
I will say I'd say I spent the most time with the GameCube version.
Okay. Why was
I
that?
think the newest one's kind of a big disappointment.
Okay. What about the Star Wars video game franchise?
Well, I've played a few of them, but aside from probably Knights of the Old Republic, never really did much with any of them.
Okay. Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Was there ever a Street Fighter 1 before Street Fighter 2? A question many people asked for years and years before the rise of the internet. Where's Street Fighter 1? I always hear of 2. I've always seen it everywhere. But what of Street Fighter 1? A fabric tale that no one truly knew. But I've played obviously
You,
2. It's pretty much hard to never play 2. It's literally on like everything practically.
mm,
Um, I played
just
other ones. I played some of the PS2, PS1s. I got some of the Dreamcast, SNK versus Capcom ones, Marvel versus Capcom ones.
mhm. Just now, you sounded like when you were talking about Street Fighter, you sounded like you were sitting around a campfire in the Proving Grounds.
Yes, but
Mhm.
was Street Fighter 1 real?
Well, let's check its Wikipedia page.
Well, it is real. I think the only American version of it was for the TurboGrafx 16. I think it was on the CD. I don't think it was a huge card. Um,
It came
I
out in 1987.
I don't know if America ever got arcade cabinets of Street Fighter 1. It wasn't really well received.
Hmm. Okay. Well then, what about the Uncharted series?
I have not played any of them, sadly.
Okay. What about Diablo?
Diablo. I have played all of that series now.
And
From last year, doing Diablo 3 and its expansion with Dan as a playthrough we did, and I'd say Diablo 1 good, Hellfire funny, Diablo 2 good, expansion good, forget Diablo 3 existed and it had an expansion, but the game doesn't exist, right?
okay. All right. What about Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter, a game a lot of people are surprised to hear I don't like. Because
Really? Why?
they'll be like, but it's Dark Souls-y, and it is, but it has no RPG mechanics. It
Mm.
is a game that's more on the MMO grinding for gear side of things, and it's like it is way harder on Dark Souls to me. I'm just not hardcore enough for all the dinosaur hunting. It is just some. It's too frustrating for me personally.
Mm,
I could see why people enjoy it, but it's a little too much for me.
hmm Okay, what about Kirby?
Kirby, Kirby is the one. No, no, that's not right. Kirby, Kirby, Kirby's the one. Ha ha! Right back at you. Okay.
The only Kirby game I ever got into was Kirby and the Crystal Shards. That was cute.
That was the N64 game, right?
Yes.
I've never played that one, though I can now that because I got the Kirby collection for the Wii. I first played Adventures on the NES. I never played the first one, which was on the Game Boy. I have Dreamland 2 on the Game Boy that I grew up with. Never got Dreamland 3, but that's also on the Wii compilation. No reason I got that. Um, I played All Stars because Aaron owned it, the lucky bastard. Well, it's not as valuable now, but back in the older days, All Stars was a pretty good $200 bill for that. A very fantastic game. Good. It's also in that collection. It also has a unique DS entry that has some newer content on it too. That is a fantastic Kirby game, the All Stars one. I never played the N64 one, and pretty much from there on, I kind of lost touch with a lot of the Kirby games. I've gotten some of the GBA ones and some of the DS ones recently, but I haven't played them.
Mm. mm. Okay, now I have not played this one. I haven't played a lot of these on this list. Mortal Kombat.
Ah, Mortal Kombat. Along with Lethal Enforcer and Night Trap, the creation of the EOSB. It was pretty much hard to never hear of Mortal Kombat if you grew up in the arcade age in Western times, because, well, if you were a kid and you had arcades, everyone talked about that game where you whip people's heads off with the spine on it. But, uh, back in the time, I would say the shock value was the bigger thing for the older ones. I don't think they hold up very well as good fighting games in today's time with the
hmm
old ones. The newer ones have done a lot better at making them more competent fighting games. But aside from some of the PS2, Xbox original ones, I haven't played many of the more updated ones.
Mm. Okay. And next one is Civilization.
I've only played, I think it was Civilization 4 or 5. Let me look at my Steam
Okay.
library here. Something I very rarely ever do. Anyone from my side channel's probably like, is he looking at Steam? You mean he has Steam games? Let's
There's
see.
nothing wrong with Steam.
See, he's probably going by Sid Meier's Civilization 5. Yeah, I got 5. Oh, it's just because I always say I don't like getting DRM games and stuff and that. I usually get GOG stuff.
Mm. Mm.
Civilization 5, it was pretty fun. It'd be nicer if I could ever finish a game of it. Every time I play with Alan or somebody, it's like, you want to start a new game? It's like, no!
Okay, so have you played any of the Gundam games?
I haven't played a whole lot, but I have I've played a lot of the PS2 era ones. Actually, my first PS2 game I got with my PS2 was a Mobile Suit Gundam game that wasn't very well received. That
Mm.
took place in the original Mobile Suit Gundam series with, I think his name was Amuro. I think was the main character's name.
I don't know. I grew up watching the animes, but I never played the games.
No, I mean the game was based off the original anime. It had the cast, the kid who was the first pilot of the Mobile Suit Gundam. Then you had the tank unit and the what was the other unit they had? They had something else besides that big tank one. I think his name was Amuro, but I mean the original anime for Mobile Suit Gundam, the very first one.
Okay, I never saw the very first one. I saw two. I saw Gundam Wing,
Yeah, Gundam
and
Wings like fifth or something.
okay, then I never saw the first one,
It's
and
certainly not old. Well, at least
hmm
at that point in time.
yeah, and Mobile Suit Gundam: The Eighth MS Team. I saw that one.
See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Gundam Wing is the 11th Mobile Suit Gundam series,
Yeesh.
which started in 1995. The original Mobile Suit Gundam started in 1979 to 1980.
The fun fact about that, in Gundam Wing, um, let's see, the character of Duo Maxwell, he has this long brown hair that he keeps in a long braid, right? Kind of like the Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, long hair, so it keeps in a braid. But Duo's hair is like really long.
Mm-hmm.
So his English voice actor Scott McNeil, his very first time ever going in to record, he's in the recording booth, and you've got to wait for a couple of beeps before you start talking. So he's got his headset in. He goes beep, 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 and then he says to the director, he said, "Wait a minute, I thought I was playing a boy." You are playing a boy. You are playing a guy, says the director. And he says, no, that character has long hair. Clearly that is a girl. No, that is a guy. That is a guy. They had to
I need to see some evidence of this incident.
Well, it's on YouTube if you're ever curious. Of him,
the actual incident is on YouTube?
Well, not it actually happening, but he has told the story of like when he was cast and when he first went in, and he says now, today, Duo Maxwell is as cool as how cool he wanted to be when he actually was 15 years old, because Duo was 15 in the anime.
Really? I thought they were a little older.
Mm. And I don't know if you've ever heard of an anime called Inuyasha.
Yes. Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome. Why don't you just get a room already?
Well, oh God, that's it. I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
What? I just...
I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Boys and girls in the audience, tell me you don't get sick of them constantly spending like 5 minutes going, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome.
They're not doing anything. He's still hung up on Kikyo. At least up until the final act.
Oh, come on, it's like a meme. You can just go on Google and just find so many jokes about the whole Kagome, Inuyasha. 10 hours later, Kagome, Inuyasha. 20 hours later.
Well, the funny thing I wanted to say was, Inuyasha has an older half brother named Sesshomaru.
Yes.
For up until the final act, Sesshomaru was voiced by Dave Kane, who prior to this voiced Treize Kushranada in Gundam Wing. He was one of the main bad guys, but David Kane. He also voiced Megatron in Beast Wars and Beast Machines, and he retired. Before the final act came out, he retired from it because he wanted to focus more on his radio career. So they had to recast Sesshomaru, and they did a really good job. They did.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, back to the game. And yeah, I'm not afraid to whoop ass.
What?
You heard me.
Saying they spend so much time screaming Kagome and Inuyasha over and over and over again throughout the entire series.
Funny thing, Richard Ian Cox he voices Inuyasha, and he said he was at a panel, and one guy asked him, "Can you do the Kagome scream?" And it was a guy, right? So he goes, "Inuyasha, Kagome," and then Richard says, "That's the first time I've ever Kagome'd with a dude."
Huh.
But anyway, back to the video games. Have you ever played any of the James Bond games?
Aside from the N64 one now.
Okay, did you like the N64 one?
It was alright. I'm more of a Perfect Dark fan.
Okay. Mega Man.
Mega Man has a mega plan. Except
What's your favorite?
Mega Man Legends 1 and 2.
Okay. Alright. Borderlands.
Can I is there any way to specially hack these games and input a good story translation into these games?
Oh my gosh.
But that was a cheap shot at the lead story director of the Borderlands games, because he said the same thing to Persona 5, saying that it was a unreadable and horrible translation. Says the guy who just uses memes over and over again for a story arc.
Okay. Ratchet and Clank.
I never played any of them, really. I've seen Aaron play some of them. He has a few of them.
Okay. What in the world? This is one I've never... Rayman.
Wayman. Wayman. It didn't start on the PS1, but I got to play Wayman 1's PS1 version. I think it started on the Atari Jaguar, oddly enough. I think the first game, the first actual version of it. Wayman was I don't like the look of the modern Wayman. I liked the look of the original Wayman. Very bright, colorful. It's just a real shame it didn't get a lot of popularity. Let's see. EU dates here. Yeah. It was what? 1995 for the Atari Jaguar. It did come out for the PlayStation 1 in 1995 also, but oddly it came out on September 9th. Why not just have them come out at the same time? Well, but Wayman 1 is available on a lot of different platforms. Very colorful game, very beautiful looking, very hard though. Very hard, especially if you want the good ending.
Yeah.
But aside from the original Wayman, I've never played any of the other Wayman games, which there are a lot, especially bizarre spin-offs.
It says here that it was released on September 1st, 1995.
September 1st, 1995? Yeah. Yeah, the list I'm looking at says September 1st, 1995 for the Atari Jaguar, and then,
Confusion.
Well, actually, oddly enough, for some reason it says September 1st, 1995 above and below Atari Jaguar, but from how it lists it, because if I go all the way to the bottom, it finishes saying Android with a year number underneath it, so I'm not sure why there's a date above the first listing. Probably somebody typo. Of course, you shouldn't always 100% believe wiki information. It can be easily edited. It's just a quick way to usually get information, but it's not always necessarily something you should take to heart.
Someone call Histoire! Oh, Histoire! We need some help here!
I feel like I should get the joke, but I'm not.
You know I'm referencing Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Oh, now I get it.
People, he got it the whole time. He's just trying to mess with me.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, right. Okay, Animal Crossing.
I had played the GameCube and the original DS versions of Animal Crossing.
Thoughts?
The Sims with a greedy raccoon that beats you down for money. And next time, have all the bells ready.
Counter-Strike.
I've only played the original Xbox Counter Strike.
Thoughts?
There was no multiplayer at the time, so it was pretty boring.
Mm.
Because it just bought matches. It's a good
Mm.
thing I only
Oh.
got for like $3 in some
Hmm.
game exchange dump bin of cheap stuff.
Hmm. And here's one of my favorites. Here's one of my favorites, except for I have to confess, except for its most recent release because it leaves you confused. BioShock.
I have sadly not played any of them.
You should. You should
I
try
have
BioShocks
I
1 and
have
2.
a collection of Bioshock 1 and 2, and I do have System Shock 1 and 2 on GOG.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you have the new collection of Bioshock that has Infinity and 1 and 2 on the PS4, but they
Yeah.
blocked everything on it, so I'm kind of iffy on getting it.
What do you mean they blocked everything on it?
Can't stream it, can't screenshot it.
Oh.
PS4 collection is blocked.
I see. Because I'm thinking I want to get BioShock in the future.
I mean,
I
if you're
have
just
seen.
gonna play it, it's fine. But if you want
Yeah.
to do videos and shit, no.
Mm.
And what's
Mm.
weird is they have, as far as I know, never commented on why. Because they don't usually do anything about people who make videos unless that it's stuff before launch or something. So it's like, why did they do that? And as far as I know, they never addressed it. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kingdom Hearts.
we like the first one. Chain of Memories was okay, and I like the second one for gameplay. But I think the direction the story went on and continues to go on becomes a convoluted mess.
Yeah, and what kind of annoys me about it is that they keep remaking and remaking Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix,
What, didn't
Kingdom
you
Hearts
know that's how they're
1.8.
funding Kingdom Hearts 3's insanely long development? I mean, look at 15. They're like, we need to somehow keep making money. I know, we release it again and again.
Yeah,
They'll
but
keep
when
buying it.
I read right before no, I didn't. Yeah, I did read it. Yeah, because I'm getting it confused with my information that I look up on YouTube. Um, when it came to Final Fantasy 15, that was like a $10 million budget, and they would need to make $10 million just to break even for having made the game. And I guess people were concerned because Final Fantasy 13's all three of those games
Yeah, they
had
did
not
bad.
had not even sold that many collectively. So they were wondering, is number
If I
15
remember
going to
correctly,
be?
each one did worse than the last one. And that's a bit of a shame because the second one actually tried to address problems with the first one. Now, the third one, I think, was the main creator just being too waifu-y with lightning.
Yeah, yeah. And
That guy has a weird obsession with lightning.
and with 15, it's said to have the hardest.
Actually, you know, that might actually explain why 15 has a male cast. Just be like, okay, you get away. You can just stay with your lightning pillow in the pillow. We're just gonna have a male cast so you don't fuck up this one.
Well, I guess 15 is supposed to have the hardest fucking final boss in this history of the series. So they're like, get
I'll
ready
have-
to do some grinding, people.
I'll have to ask Pixie about that. I don't think I'll agree with it.
Who's Pixie?
Pixie is a British African American who, well, he is a friend of mine.
Oh, all right.
He's
I
let's see how to describe him in short terms. He is a sarcastic, perverted booty lord. Yes,
okay.
we make fun of him because he's a butt type person. So we sometimes when he used to have Overwatch, because he'd always point out Trace all the time. He's like, "That's the booty lord there."
He should watch Space Dandy. Okay, anyway, Gears of War.
I have one and two. One I really did like one, but then I played two, and then it just didn't improve on anything, and it kept the worst thing I hated about one, and that's when story crops in, and everyone slows to a crawl, slowly progressing as people talk, and even if you get to the other side of the room, you have to wait for them to all finish blah blah before you can move on.
Okay, God of War.
I've only played the first one.
Did you like it?
It's not my kind of thing. My dad likes them though.
Hmm. Okay, let's see. Imagine.
Imagine.
A series of video games by Ubisoft aimed primarily at girls released from 2007 onwards. What?
Those ain't all those clothing, go to the mall and take care of baby DS games, is it?
Oh, wait,
My goodness!
I remember I played this one. Like, Imagine figure skating.
Oh dear, that's a strange thing because for one thing, some of those titles were actually Japanese games that they localized under that brand. There was a ice skating music game that was a Japanese game, and then there was some little band music game that was also a Japanese game. So that's a very mixed, conflicting entry because some of the games aren't even a part of that in realistic terms.
Mm.
Plus, I think one of those clothing games were also a Japanese game, because if I remember correctly, they changed one of the characters who was actually a gay trans character and just made it, redesigned it as a guy or girl. I don't even remember.
Okay.
Hey, don't look at me.
Age of Empires.
Age of Empires. I've only played the first one.
And what did you think of it?
I think I was way too young to play it.
Why?
Because it's not a game that holds your hand.
What do you mean?
It's hard.
Oh,
You
okay.
gotta have real-time experience other than StarCraft.
Mm.
Though that does
Okay.
help. I mean, I understood what I was doing, but some of the story missions are fucking just brutal. Because you unlike StarCraft, where you just essentially, you build a base, get units, and go accomplish whatever you're supposed to do, usually. Most Age of Empire missions, like I remember there was one, you're just the old unit guy who cavorts people, and you had to cavort units to finish the mission. You didn't build a base. You're an old guy. You have to convince the first enemy unit you run across to join your side before he kills you.
Okay. Far Cry.
I've only played the first one.
And thoughts?
I didn't play enough of it.
Ah, okay. Frogger.
Froggle. Konami somehow hoard out more games, but I've only played classic Froggle. I've never played any of Konami's Froggle.
Okay. Prince of Persia.
I played the original Prince of Persia, and I played the PS2 Prince of Persia. Now, I'm going to assume this is referring to the PS3 Prince of Persia games, and not the original Prince of Persia, which was a very fatal and hard game. I mean, the original Prince of Persia game wasn't necessarily my kind of game. It's very hard and brutal, and mistakes are punished very harshly. I think the kind of updated 360 arcade version has like checkpoints or something in it, but
Mm,
and the PS2 games weren't my cup of tea.
mm. Okay. Spyro the Dragon.
I've played all the PS1 versions, never beat any of them, nor owned them. Friends had them. They were okay. Again, not my kind of thing.
Okay. Total War.
Total War. That's a long-going PC series. I don't have a lot in it because it was mainly a PC series. At that time, I played Age of Empire, StarCraft, and that. Um, but I do know of the Total War series. I have picked up some of the discs through thrifting.
Hmm. I see. I see. Okay. All right. We have reached the 10 million copies um, section of this one, which means after this is the only two more. Only two more. 10 million and 5 million. Okay? You ready?
Would you believe me if I said no?
It depends. You're still strapped to that chair. Even if you're not ready, you're going to answer anyway. Seeing as when we started this video, you made everyone believe that I had you strapped to a chair.
Well, I did kind of forget the officer who had a gun pointed at me, but now that you mention it,
There ain't no officer here.
yeah, there's no officer.
There ain't no officer here. Typical Atticus. Typical Atticus! You made me want to cuss, Atticus! Ah, he's lying, people.
Help! Send help!
Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay. All right. Driver.
I have a few of the entries through thrifting, but I've never played any of them. I've always heard, I think it was Driver 3, that was just a very interesting controversy tied up and covered over the years.
Okay. Warcraft.
Warcraft 2 for the PlayStation 1 was the first time I ever played a Warcraft game, and then I got into Warcraft 2 for the PlayStation 1 was the first time I ever played a real-time strategy game. Then I got a decent PC and got into StarCraft, Brood War, Age of Empires, and then Warcraft 3 came out, which was excited for. I never got to play Warcraft 1 for a very long time until I came across a disc copy of it that I got to run on my computer. And it is incredibly hard, and I had to cheat the last human campaign because it was the orc campaign. It wasn't the human side. It was the orc campaign. The last stage of the orc campaign was insanely hard because of the healing unit the humans had. It's just really hard to freaking out maneuver them. I actually had to cheat on the orcs final stage campaign. But I really like the series. World of Warcraft, I have a very brutal love and hate relationship, like a beaten wife with a bad husband, where it's like, and then you get beaten up, and then you're like, fuck you.
Okay. Dynasty Warriors.
I have random different entries of them. I'd say probably the more memorable ones, not counting recent spin-offs of other franchises. I would probably say the more memorable ones were on the PS2 for me.
Okay. Why is that?
Just probably because it wasn't so stale by that time, you know. I mean, they started around that time, and at this point, they're still going.
Okay.
That's why I think the stuff like Dragon Quest Heroes and the Zelda one added a lot of fresh ideas into that style of gameplay.
Okay. Metroid.
Metroid. I did grow up with Metroid 1 on the NES. My dad played it a lot with Castlevania. I never could get far in Metroid because it had no in-game map, and the one in the booklet was so bare bones. It only gave you a very vague idea, and I never could beat the Metroid 1. Um, I do have Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. I do have a lot of the Metroid games, but for the most part, probably the furthest one I ever got in was Metroid Prime, and I got near the end, but I can't remember. I was like in some icy area, I believe, but I don't think that was necessarily. I remember I was at some section where I had to do a lot of backtracking and such, but I know it was near the end of Prime.
Hmm. Okay. StarCraft.
StarCraft. It's a good RTS, but I don't like
Oh.
StarCraft 2.
Oh, okay. Half-Life.
Half-Life. I have a lot of experience with Half-Life 2. I have a little experience with Half-Life 1. I do own the PS2 version of Half-Life 1, which had the reason for that is because it had a special co-op storyline where you play two female scientists during the events of Half-Life 1. It only exists on the PS1 version. I never gotten to play that because it is only a co-op game. You have to play it with someone. Does Portal count? Because technically it does take place in the Half-Life universe. That's a tricky question now. Ooh. Well, probably considering how this list gave like 5 spots to Mario, it probably doesn't.
It still has spots for Mario. I just haven't been naming them
Are
off.
you kidding me?
Yeah, like Mario and Sonic, Mario Party, Mario Kart.
Okay, you need to give me a name of whoever this is so I can go and harass them on Twitter.
No. And they don't even mention who updated this list. So, meh.
Well, if you're listening to this guy or gal or transgender 289.
Hey. We're not going there.
Well, I just want to be fair to all the identifications, you know.
Well, some people identify as guys. Some people identify as gals. They're the transgender. Don't make me edit you.
But I identify as a tree, though. Anyway, if you're listening, your list sucks.
Okay. Red Dead.
I have the original Red Dead, let's see, was it Red Dead I'm trying to remember, because, the sequel used a different, Redemption. Red Dead Redemption, is a sequel, but Red Dead Revolver was a PS2 game that is not, see, Red Dead Redemption is basically GTA in the West. Red Dead Revolver was a third-person Western game, and it was really good. I really liked it. Very enjoyable. Sadly, underrated. A lot of people didn't. I mean, you can ask people. I've seen so many people who don't even know there was actually a game before Red Dead Redemption. They're like, "What? Huh? Never heard of it." But I really liked the Revolver. I do have Redemption. I didn't really get into it though.
Okay. Now I have to ask you this one. I just have to ask you this one. Barbie!
Video games?
Uh-huh.
But this isn't on the list, right?
Yes, it is.
I need some proof of that.
1984. 15 million copies.
Of what? Like, the last Barbie game I ever heard of was on the Nintendo Wii, I think.
Okay. Burnout.
Burnout. Never played any of them, sadly. But I heard they're very interesting, though.
Okay. Uh, Gex or Jex, I'm not sure how
Is that
to
that
pronounce.
Blizzard game?
I have no idea. Yes.
I've never played any of them, but I know of it. It's very, very movie themed, gaggy.
Mm, okay. Hitman.
Hitman, I only have experience with some of the ones on the PS2, not my kind of thing.
Okay. Professor Layton.
Professor Layton, please get Pandora's box. It's best. It best.
All right. Jack and Daxter.
Didn't really play them, not my kind of thing. Aaron plays them. Aaron plays a lot of those platformy action adventure games like Ratchet, Clank, Jax, and such. Not my
Mm,
kind of thing.
okay. Ace Combat.
Pixie actually likes those games. I'm not into fight simulators, and ever watching me fly a jet in GTA 5 is probably the shortest takeoff ever.
Okay. Souls.
Souls, like as in Dark Souls and Demon Souls?
Says Souls is an action role-playing game series created and developed by From
Yes,
Software.
it's talking about Dark Souls and that. Fantastic series. My opinion, Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls are probably the hardest. Uh, Bloodborne's probably the most balanced out of all of them. Dark Souls 2 is probably the easiest. And Dark Souls 3 is a strange hybrid of basically all the games.
Huh. Okay. Guild Wars.
I've only played Guild Wars 1 and it was very short.
Did you like it though?
No.
Okay. Uh, the Tales series.
Like the old ones.
Okay. For what reason? Specifics.
Because they don't use every cliche in the freaking book to make one plot line. To
Okay.
be fair, I haven't played a lot of the newer ones.
I've been playing Tales of Berseria.
And for anyone's information, yes, I am referring to Symphonia.
Okay. Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur. But, but, but what about the what was the first one? It was called Soul Edge, I believe. Because I got the very first one, which was on the PS1. I think it was called just Soul Edge, the first one. Yeah, the first one was called Soul Edge. And then you had Soul Calibur, and continued on from there. Fantastic series. I have not played any past. I think it was 3. Yeah, I haven't played anything past 3. But definitely I'd say the Dreamcast Soul Calibur is a really solid one now. Though 2 was an interesting experiment of having multiple characters, but sadly they were locked based on what system you got, which is a bit of a shame in that regard.
Hmm. Okay, now this one you might really like. I don't know if you've heard of it or anything like that. I really don't know if you've heard of it. Really, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Um,
so for the
ne-
viewers, I'm debating whether I should just fake being real excited because she sounds really nervous about it. So I'm debating if I should just, regardless of whether I know what it is or not, just act really excited to make her feel stranger.
for the viewers, I don't feel strange.
Okay.
But anyway, this one I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Megami Tensei.
Oh, dang it. I thought she was going to say something that was a little more adultish. But anyway.
Shut
Well,
up!
but to be fair, though, that is an adult series, just in dark, murdering ways. But, I do have a lot of entries, including Japanese-only ones. I have a Japanese-only Sega Saturn one. I have the 2 on the NES. I have several of the Game Boy games that never came to America. I have a pretty large chunk of all those. Trying to finish any of them is really long, though, because they're all very long RPGs usually. Especially, even the modern ones with Persona and such. I mean, they're all games you easily spend usually 100 hours on.
Hmm. Okay, Saints Row.
Only played the first one.
Thoughts?
Um, it keeps getting stranger with every sequel.
Okay.
Well, considering the
Myst.
last one, they're
Whoops.
in like the Matrix and you become the president or some shit.
Mm. Okay, Myst.
Missed. I've only played the first one. My dad really liked it. It is very puzzle oriented, but it pretty much leaves you in the void of where to go. You do a lot of backtracking and trying to figure things out because it does not hold your hand at all. Um, I think in that regard, you gotta keep in mind I was like 10 or something, so
Mm.
wasn't wasn't necessarily probably a good puzzle game for a kid. I've never went back to try it, but sometimes I've thought about trying it again.
Mm. Okay. Star Fox.
Not really my kind of thing, but I do have the N64 game, the DS, and I did get the Wii U one because I was worried about it possibly becoming hard to find, but considering all the bad reviews and everything, it's became incredibly cheap, so I kind of wasted my money.
Mm. Okay. The Witcher.
The Witcher, I own 1 and 2 on GOG. I don't have Witcher 3. I haven't played any of them. Carter keeps telling me to play them.
Okay. Left for Dead.
Left for Dead. Fun series. Give me another sequel.
All right. Mass Effect.
Never played any of them but the first one for a little while. Didn't get into the story. Not really into sci-fi settings very much.
Mm. Okay. Let's see. Adventure Island.
Venture Island. We talking about Master Hughes here?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me.
I think we're talking about Master Hughes, like on the NES and such. Yeah, yeah, that is what I am thinking.
Yep.
Master Higgins. But I always thought Adventure Island was really weird because it's essentially started off as a clone game of Wonder Boy that was by Sega, and then they ran with it and made Adventure Island, and Adventure Island kept the original Wonder Boy's gameplay for a long time. Why Wonder Boy went into like a 2D side-scrolling Zelda style game with 3 and with Monster Layer 3 and such.
Hmm. Okay. Bomberman.
I like a lot of the old Bombermans. I have the Super Nintendo ones. I also had the opportunity to get the big multi-tab, which is one of the Bomberman games. For one of the few games to use that giant Super Nintendo multi-tab thing with. Don't get the 360 one though.
Hmm. Okay. I'm
Never.
going.
It's horrible. It's like hey, I know we have this cute anime character, but let's make him look like a rough, gritty Master Chief where everyone gets murdered in a bloody death arena. No save points, and make it like over 100 levels you have to do in one sitting. And if you run out of lives, you gotta start all over.
Okay. Okay. We are on the very last column. The very last column. The ones that sold at least 5 million copies. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Saga.
Saga, as in like
Like
Saga
Saga
Frontier,
Yeah.
Romancing Saga, and that.
Yeah.
Oh my! I have most of the series. Um, I'd say Romancing Saga 2, I believe, is the one I'm thinking of, where you play the Emperor through generations of fighting the 7 heroes. We are the 7 heroes of history. I like that theme song. I actually was really happy that was in the sequel to that Final Fantasy music game on the 3DS. It was a DLC song. I got some free DLC in Nintendo money, whatever shit for some promotion they did, and I bought the song, the Seven Heroes song for Saga Romancing 2 was really good. My first foray was ironically the mistitled Final Fantasy Legends series, which is the first, second, third Saga games. Because I get what they were doing. Brand recognition for Final Fantasy was big, and Saga was non-existent, so it made sense what they did. But I really liked it. Legends 1. Never really got into Legends 2 and 3. I liked Romancing 2. I liked the Saga Frontier 1. I didn't really get too much. Actually, for as much as I don't like Saga Frontier 2, I got really far into it. And I swear I've done this one battle. Okay, there's this one battle. There's sometimes these moments where you have a tactics grid battle thing, where you move characters in a chess piece style, and then when you encounter an enemy, it goes into the RPG battle system. There's this one fight with I think his name was like Gustav or something, and you can't win the fight. He's invincible. You have to delay him to getting to the other side of the map for a certain amount of turns, and I have done that so many times, and I can't ever win because it's so freaking random, because his units are so fucking overpowered. You're lucky if anyone survives one encounter with any of them.
Yeah, the most frustrating boss for me in Final Fantasy IX. Let's see, I remember that one was, oh my gosh.
What's this
It
have
was
to do with
that,
Saga?
I'm just saying, it was a frustrating boss in Final Fantasy IX.
Is it the giant spinny planet thing?
No, not that one. It
Is
was,
it the Gwen Weeple?
Gizmelik's Grotto. Master Gizmelik, that big, lizard thing.
Uh,
That, yeah, disc 1.
Probably if
Or
I
disc
saw it.
2.
You talking about in the underground tunnels?
Yeah.
Oh.
hmm Okay, but anyway, next one, Dead Rising.
Dead Rising. Original reason I got 360. Dead Rising 2 was a fantastic sequel. What was that? What was the spin-off thing to 2 called again? Where you played Frank West instead. I can't remember what it was called. Whatever the weird spin-off thing where you just play Frank West's in Dead Rising 2 setting. That was not too much new content, but it was alright. Never played Dead Rising 3 because I don't have an Xbox One, and Dead Rising 4 I obviously can't play for the same reason, but I've watched people play it. It's so horrible. It's terrible. Dead Rising 4 is the reason the series will die. It's terrible. It's horrible. What in the fuck was the creator saying? Every interview he was a liar. He's the equivalent of the lying piece of shit about No Man's Sky. He is a liar. Everything he said was a lie. He has no idea what he's talking
Okay,
about.
calm down.
Wait, see, what doesn't help in this situation is I just watched a video that showed a bunch of interview sections of him yesterday, so I have all this fresh in my head now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, then let's move on to another one.
But I could still wait on for at least 2 more hours.
I know, but we don't have 2 more hours. Okay. Doom.
Doom. I've only played the original Doom on Super Nintendo and PC. I have watched somebody play Doom 2. I have played Doom 3 on the original Xbox. I have not played the expansion, but I did get the expansion through thrifting. But I haven't played it, mainly because my original Xbox actually died on me near the end of last year, so I can't play any of my original Xbox games at the moment. And the newest Doom, which is awesome.
Why is the new Doom awesome?
Because it takes everything that made Doom and made it better. as a like I like the Doom 3, but I can understand why a lot of fans don't like it because it's a slow survival horror kind of feel versus this I'm running down the pits of hell and shooting him in the face and the devil had his fiddle and I shot him in the face. Na 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 na.
Okay. Watch Dogs.
I played the first one for a bit. I had more fun with the online than the story, but it's something I've been wanting to play. I had at the time I did not have a PS4. I did not have a next gen system. I still had the previous gen stuff, and I saw Watch Dogs for the PS3 at Goodwill, really cheap, brand new. It was like $10 or something. So I bought that. I had some fun with that. But when I got a PS4, I'm like, I'd rather actually play the PS4 version of this, and I just never got around to getting it. I think I would like it more. I just didn't play a whole lot of the single player. I had a lot more fun with it online.
Okay. Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive. Now, see, back
We're not going to count Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Now, back when she was sounding frustrated with something, this is what I thought she was going to bring up. See, this is what I thought she was getting frustrated about. So this is why, like, either A, this is Dead or Alive, or B, I'm just looking too far into this.
That was the very first Dead or Alive game I ever heard of. That was my
that's
introduction.
kind of sad, because the extreme games are really bad games. And what's sad is they've only gotten worse with each sequel. What's sad is 1 and 2 are far better than the PSP or 3. 3 is so light on content, and like 2 had pretty much the entire female cast. Like it's like why is this becoming worse? And the PSP game's probably the worst because it's on the damn PSP. But I have aside from the 3DS and the PSP Extreme game, I'm pretty sure I have the Italian series. Very good fighting game for, I'd say, 2 and up. The original Dead or Alive, it was a pretty average fighting game that just pretty much was well known because of the physics. But 2 was where it became a really good fighting game, and it just kept building on that. Wacky characters and everything. Storyline, yeah, not a lot of fighting games have really great storylines, but and Tecmo was one of the few games companies that made great use of the original Xbox. And they were a Japanese developer, which is, odd because the Xbox systems don't do very well. They keep doing worse and worse in Japan. The Xbox One was a joke in Japan. But
Really?
Oh yeah, it was just such a terrible launch. It was like the line for waiting for the launch was like pathetic. It's like Microsoft just basically, okay, look, we tried really hard during the original, we tried really hard during the 360. I mean, we literally had the guy who made Final Fantasy make 2 games for the damn thing. 2 games!
Well, like in the US, they released the Xbox One before the PS4 because they wanted to boost sales there.
Microsoft really just did a horrible job on the Xbox One everywhere. But, I mean, it's just pathetic in Japan. They pretty much obviously seem like they just gave up in Japan. But,
Okay, well, did I see... Oh, I'm sorry.
But, yeah, Dead Rising 2, Dead or Alive 1, you can get that with the PS2 version of Dead or Alive 2. But I wouldn't say it's something you necessarily need to look for. But yeah, 2, 3, and so on are very good games. Extreme or just fan servicey games. I mean, I would say at least Extreme 1 actually was a decent volleyball game. but it only gotten worse with each one. And Extreme 3 is basically, if you're not there for the fan service, it's a terrible game. Terrible game. That has the majority of the cast not in it.
I see. Okay, what about Ninja Gaiden?
Ninja Gaiden.
Gaiden? Is
I
that how it's
suck,
pronounced?
but that's how I pronounce it. Some people pronounce it Gaiden. Some people. It's one of those things where nobody will ever agree on one, and it will never ever stop. So anyway,
Oh, okay.
but I
Matt.
suck at 'em. I played the NES ones, never got far. Played the first modern one, never got far. I have one of the Wii U versions, never played it.
Okay. Well, what about Max Payne?
Never played any of them, sadly. I've been wanting to try them, but never played any of them. Old third
Oh,
one sucks though.
okay. What about Oddworld?
Oddworld,
Mm-hmm.
very hard game when you're a kid.
Okay. Um, let's see. Just Cause.
Never played any of them. Dan's
Oh,
played them now.
all right. Unreal.
As in the first-person shooters. Well,
It's
those
a
those are online player versus player type arena things. I've never played any of them with players before. I have the Dreamcast one, which I think was Arena 3, I think. But you just play it with bots because it's online, doesn't exist. But yeah, I don't really have any experience with those.
okay. What about the Mana series?
I love the Mana series, which should be very evident to anyone who goes to my Twitter page and sees that I live under the Mana tree.
Okay. What's your favorite title in the Mana series?
It's a mix between the third Super Nintendo game and Legends.
All right. Next one. Alone in the Dark.
Love the original trilogy. The new modern one was terrible, and then the multiplayer one, while sounding like an interesting idea, doesn't sound very fitting with Alone in the Dark, and I heard it's quite terrible, but I haven't played that one. Oh, and the Dreamcast one's pretty It's kind of a dick move to make the enemies respawn people.
Okay. All right. What about Brothers in Arms?
I never played any of them.
Okay. Heading down the list. Okay. Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Uh, this kind of fits in with Dynasty Warriors a little, since they are made by the same people and take place in the same timelines, but they are different games. I think at least this is a better argument than all the spots I gave Mario. um, I have played some of the I, there's a lot of different entries that you have the very tacticy ones, and then there's those PS2 ones that began with like a K, like Kaisen or something. I played some of those. I have some. I have a Sega Genesis Three Kingdoms, Nobunaga's Revenge, I think it was called, on the Sega Genesis. I have a long box Three Kingdoms game for the PS1 that I got my hands on. Um, but not a little too slow pace, and those kind of games are a little too slow pace for me myself.
Okay. What about a first-person shooter called Turok?
Turok, the dinosaur killing game. I've never played any of them, but I know of them.
Okay. Hold on a minute while I go down the list here. Conflict.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Lost Planet.
Lost Planet. First one had a lot of interesting ideas, but I never played anything beside the first one. Though, and I did beat the first one. I heard the second one was and the third one was horrible.
Okay, Ace Attorney.
Ace Attorney. Please give us more physical versions again, you dirty damn Catcom. But excellent games. Please tell Capcom to release the newer ones in physical, please.
Capcom, please release some more physical copies of the Ace Attorney series for AtticusMJ. He really loves it.
Yes,
Please.
I do. Yes,
Please.
I do. I have not bought any of the newer ones because they're only doing digital now, and it's so. I'm so glad though we got the Professor Layton versus Phoenix White though. It was quite worrisome if it was even going to come out in America. Also, I am pissed that one that takes place in feudal Japan with Sherlock Holmes in it didn't come to America. It's like Capcom is disappointing me so much with this series now. A series I love.
Okay, Virtua Fighter.
I have most of them. Pretty good. They're basic fighting games. Very nice characters in that.
Alright, Chrono.
Is it like Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross.
Good games. Don't let the haters on Cross tell you otherwise. It's a good game.
Okay, Ano.
What? What was that game?
Ano. Ano.
Anno.
A-N-N-O.
A-N-N-O. A-N-N-O. Let's see. Is a real-time strategy game with business simulating. Totally not my thing.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Gotta go down the list a bit more. Okay, Baldur's Gate.
I've never got to play the actual games, but I have played the more Diablo-ish style ones on the PS2.
Okay, Stronghold.
I've never played any of them. I picked up some of the PC ones, thrifting though.
Okay. Twisted Metal.
I never really played any of them.
Alright. Mafia.
I think I've played Mafia 1. I can't really remember. It's just no GTA clone kind of thing.
Okay, and on that note, we have gone through the whole list. The only ones that I skipped over were the let's see, what do you call them? The sports games and the so many Marios and so many Sonics and so many.
Cheetos, needles. Where did you get your cheating? Cheetos,
I'm about to
cheating.
whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Why?
I'm just singing along with you. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Please visit Atticus MJ's channel. And Atticus, thank you so much for coming on with this video.
I got a question now.
What is it?
That's some pretty horrible singing along. The lyrics weren't even the same.
I like to whip ass sometimes.
Ginky?
He deserves some serious censorship, people. He deserves some serious censorship. He's gonna get a slap that ricochets across the oceans.
How's Titus keep doing that? Man, that takes a lot out of you. Okay. Ha ha.
Ha 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 ha. But anyway, God bless, take care, and Atticus, what do you usually say?
I say, buy good games or good luck. No, I'd say, play the sun, have fun.
Exactly. Okay, thanks. Bye!
At this point in the video, you have walked into the secret recordings of After. Do not let Lumina know that this is still going.
Shut up.